Hello there! Today I am here with special guest David Levithan, a repeat offender on this channel.
That's true.
Today we're going to discuss Another Day, which is the companion to Every Day. How would you describe this?
But if every day is about what would it be like to change bodies every day and what kind of life would you have, Another Day is what would it be like to be in love with somebody who changed every day.
So after reading Every Day, because I had just read it around the time that this came out, and I was hesitant to pick up this because I knew that it was the same timeline. I was emotional from the ending of Every Day, so I mean, did I want to put myself through that again? But I'm so happy that I did because it really gives us a broader perspective of everything that was going on. And I think much more sympathy for Rhiannon. So what were your intentions and what surprised you the most about her character as you discovered more while writing?
I mean, well, the first thing that surprised me was the book itself, because I did not intend to write another book, especially not from Rhiannon's point of view, that was over the same time period. But I was asked to write bonus material for the paperback of Every Day, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll rewrite the first chapter from Rhiannon's point of view.
It doesn't work like that.
And then within 2 pages, I was like, oh, this is a novel. I guess I just tricked myself into writing another book. And it was interesting because I think it would have been much harder to write the book without knowing Rhiannon ahead of time. Like, I think the reason the book works is because it wasn't a character I was making up. It was a character that I'd already been living with for a few years. I think what surprised me the most is I sort of knew there had to be more to her relationship to Justin, her boyfriend, than we saw in Every Day, because obviously...
Otherwise her decisions were like insanely irrational.
Right. And again, by seeing it through A's eyes, A does not want to like Justin. A is not empathetic towards Justin because Justin is the rival. So factoring that out, it was like, what is this relationship like? And it became a very complicated relationship because I didn't want it just to be that Justin's this like cardboard cutout asshole. It really had to be, there has to be a reason she's in love with him. And I certainly know many people who have been in relationships where it is you love each other, but it's also not good for you. And I really wanted to show what that kind of relationship was like, more than I have in any other book that I've written. So that became much more the heart of the book than I thought it was going to be.
And the accuracy between, I mean, obviously there are scenes that would happen between both of them. Did you have Every Day open next to you?
Well, and I had the file.
The document.
So what I did is I did not want to reread the book fully. I wanted to actually go day by day. So as I was writing Another Day, I would get to whatever day it was, and I would load that chapter. I'd cut and paste that chapter, if it was the chapter that Rhiannon had appeared in. And so I would delete everything but the scenes that Rhiannon was in, and then I'd have to sort of draw everything else around it. So it was there, but I wasn't looking forward. I forgot a lot because it was 3 years between writing Every Day and writing Another Day, and there were stupid throwaway lines, like at one point Justin's like, oh, my grandma's sick, and I was like, oh no, his grandma's sick, I have to work that in because it's there, so I have to acknowledge it. So I would go back and sort of write, no, and grandma's sick. Every conversation they had, I did not want to do the cheat of like, everybody remembers every conversation differently. It's like, no, the words that were said were the words that were said. And that if there was going to be variation, it had to be in what the thoughts of the person were. And luckily, even in dialogue-heavy scenes, is giving us some commentary and thought. So it was easy to take that out and put Rhiannon in and get something not necessarily completely different, but definitely something different.
So I know with the announcement of the sequel, which is coming out when?
Probably 3 years from now.
Probably eventually.
2018.
When you finished Every Day, did you know you wanted to write a sequel, or were you sort of happy with the drama of the ending?
I mean, I was definitely happy with it. I did see, the character, I can say, the character of Reverend Poole, or the character within Reverend Poole in Every Day, which is, I guess if I phrase it like that, not a spoiler. That character was meant to sort of tease at something bigger. And I did toy with the idea of sort of going immediately after writing Every Day to writing a book about that something bigger. and then just wasn't feeling it. I was really, really, really happy with where every day stopped, but it kept nagging at me. I wrote this book, and I thought, okay, no, actually, I do want to take on a little bit more, because I think the scenario of waking up in a different body, in a different life every day, approaches it one very specific way, like a very moral, very considerate way, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the way that you treat it.
Of course. Every Day is a book that's really important to a lot of people for issues that almost don't exist for A. What's been most prominent and what you think is the most important thing about A's character?
Well, I think what's interesting about A is that A is purely an inner self manifest, that A is not defined by A's body at all. And I think that leads to a lot of interesting questions about how we define each other almost immediately by what we see and all the cultural signifiers that we put to that. And I think the challenge that A presents is can you judge somebody without judging that first? And I think after writing the book, I really wanted to try not to do that. And it's so hardwired into the way we see the world to just make snap judgments about everybody based on the way they look and what color their skin is and what gender they are. And so it's a constant retraining. And I think that is really interesting, and writing it from Rhiannon's point of view is even more interesting because she's also hardwired. A has it easy in some ways because A has always been seeing things from different perspectives, but Rhiannon, like her author, has really only gotten to see it from one, and you have to shift. So that's been interesting. I mean, certainly I think issues of the fact that A is agendered and what that means, and the fact that you don't actually have to switch bodies every day in order to be agendered. And I think the concept of gender queerness and gender fluidity certainly comes up a lot when talking about every day, which I think is fantastic.
Absolutely.
But I think also it does have implications too for race and class and like nature versus nurture, which I love that we can have discussions about that. And I think the fact that it has this paranormal conceit makes it actually easier to have the conversation than if we were talking about things that are in a purely realistic setting.
So I know there are some other projects also in the works.
Yes, but the next book, which happily is done, it will come out June 6th, is called You Know Me Well. It is a book that I wrote with Nina LaCour, who I love. Her book, The Disenchantments, is like one of my favorite like YA books. So we just, I guess 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, just started working on this book, which is about a lesbian girl named Katie and a gay boy named Mark who go to the same high school, who just have to deal with their various love issues over a week in San Francisco. So it's really fun because it's just about finding the right friend at the right time who actually sees things more clear-headed than you do, and how that can actually help you get through a whole lot of messy situations.
It sounds like a perfect summer book.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Another Day and Every Day are both available now. You don't want to miss this story. Thanks for watching. I'm Tiernan. This never goes very well.
He's Tiernan, and he's done. He's set. That's it. It's so fun to have you just hanging there like, I'm Tiernan. Yes, you are.
And I'll see you next time.